RuggaMatrix is brought to you by Strike. Check out their new fleet tracking system. It will save you hundreds of dollars a month. Go to strike.com.au. Proud sponsors of RuggaMatrix International. Hello and welcome to RuggaMatrix on the road, and we've made it all the way down to Melbourne for the second test between the British and Irish Lions and the Qantas Wallabies. And joining me is the Brumbies captain Ben Bowen, and one of the best flankers I've ever seen. G'day, mate.
G'day, mate. How you going?
Really good. Talk about that experience on Saturday at Suncorp Stadium.
Yeah, look, obviously, just such an amazing night. You could see that the build-up throughout the week was just going to lead to a pretty special game, and you got to give a lot of credit to the way that the British Irish Lions supporters travel, mate. They're amazing, and I walked through Queen Street on the Friday night, and it was absolutely humming. And then you got to give massive credit to the way the Australian public showed up on Saturday night, and it was just a really awesome carnival atmosphere at the game. Obviously, would have been better if we snuck away with the points.
Well, I've got to give you credit. Some people thought you might have got pulverised up front, but gee, you did a pretty good job. In fact, a couple of times you made the scrum a weapon of your own.
Yeah, look, we've knew that they were going to bring obviously the normal strengths that the Northern Hemisphere sides bring, big mauling side, big scrummaging side, and I think that the way that the Australian guys have come along in the last couple of years has been huge, and you can't go into a series like this and not have potential strengths of your own. So I think that as a scrum, we're reasonably happy with the way things went, but we'll look for a little bit more ascendancy next time, and then obviously the line-out was a massive challenge as well. But I think it's good now to have a marker set down.
Did you have to do any? I guess you had the advantage of seeing some of their combinations, particularly at scrum time. Did you pick up any little traits they were up to?
Yeah, look, we picked up a few things. Obviously, we're not going to give too much away, but but you're always better for having the experience of playing them on the night, and you can do all the analysis you want, but until you've been in those moments, you really don't know what to expect. So, good now that game's been put down. We can see our structures under what sort of fatigue under our own fatigue, and under what sort of pressures that they'll put us under. So look, this week all of us already, the 2 days training has really gone to that next level, and looking forward to another good game on Saturday night.
I spoke to Adam Ashley Cooper for the match program, and he told me that he thought it was a bit of a beat up. I thought it might have been an issue for you guys that you didn't have any hard matches like the Lions leading in, but I've got to hand it to you. You look pretty sharp, and I think I was pretty foolish about that comment.
Yeah, well, there's a fine balance between being, freshening up after a really tough Super season so far, and then getting a bit of match practice in. So, look, I thought, in the way that the guys played, it didn't show that we hadn't played for 3 weeks, which I think was a good sign. But in saying that, we'll gain a lot out of our first hit out.
There's a lot some people like looking at omens, but in 2001, mate, I was lucky enough to be in the coach's box in Melbourne for this game, and in between eating all the sandwiches, seeing Joe Roth take that intercept and then help turn the series. So, there's something tangible there. There's a record there where we've turned the series before against an awesome side.
Yeah, look, I think that's a massive trait of all Wallaby sides is when their backs are up against the wall, they find a way to perform. And look, we're going to have to be the same on Saturday night. Obviously, the Lions will approach the game looking to close out the series and take that cup home. And there's going to be huge moments of desperation for us within that 80 minutes because we know what results sitting at the other side, and we need to force that third game.
What's impressed you about the back line that you have? I mean, obviously you've got a freak on the wing in Israel Folau, but the ability for Kurtley Beale to come back into the side after limited preparation and what he's been through, surely you guys must be impressed with that.
Yeah, look, massively. I think that says a lot about Kurtley's character and just the growth he's had over the last 12 months. It's extremely difficult to play at this level, let alone play at this level, not having much footy under his belt, and the way he came on the game, and I think it was maybe his second or third touch to make a 50, 60 metre break like he did and really cut him open. He has that X factor about him. And, as a defensive side, when you're playing guys like that, you can plan for it, but they're always going to expose you at some stage. And, you know, and it's far better to have those guys on your side than playing against them.
So what needs to happen to square this series? I mean, it was very close the other night and goal kicking came into it, but I think we all agree it shouldn't have come down to that last kick for Curley to nail it. You did have your opportunities because every time you had the ball, you made the play, didn't you? And if it wasn't for the odd error, you pretty much executed every time.
Yeah, look, I think we're reasonably happy with the way that you know, we played out of our half, and I think, you know, there was obviously some individual brilliance there by Izzy and Willie Genia to get those two results. But I think when we're looking back at our structures, we're happy with the way that they're set up, and a few fine adjustments here and there, and we feel that there's certainly some more opportunities to be had. So, but in saying that, look, I think the British Irish Lions will go away, look at that game, and look to probably sew up a few holes that they had in their defensive line as well. So, you know, that's the challenge of a 3-test series is you know, you get to look at each other each week, and you got to make small adjustments on the run, and you know, the side that matches their strategy the best usually comes out on top.
This has been epic for Australian rugby, and obviously the Brumbies are doing well. You've got this undercurrent of the Super Rugby season that's not quite finished. But how big has this been for the game? How important has this been for the game of rugby in Australia, which had a bit of a dip and it sort of moved underneath soccer for a bit there, but the ratings the other night told a good story, and I think 1.2 million tuned in for it.
Oh, look, it's amazing, you know, and I'm an absolutely rugby tragic, as I know you are, Djuro, and you know, to have a series like this come along, and then, you know, the big influx of supporters, I think that just re-energises everyone in the Australian public. You know, as I mentioned before, going through Brisbane throughout, you know, last week, they are just, you know, a moving party of red that seems to engulf everywhere they go, and that sort of energy that they bring to rugby and the game, I think, you know, will re-energise Australian rugby, but I think it just highlights how big this game is on a global scale, and how important these types of series are.
All right, Benny, just wait 1 second as I throw to a quick piece here. I also interviewed Saia Fainga'a, and he had some interesting things to say about the Test match and also his brothers. Can you just describe what it was like?
For me, it was surreal. You know, 12 years in the making, playing against the British and Irish Lions, to run out, sing a national anthem, and just be amongst the crowd. You know, it was an amazing feeling, and the whole lead up was, you know, leading up to it, and obviously after the game, a sea of red everywhere. So, you know, I didn't see any red jerseys stand down, which was, you know, I think the gold jerseys matched it as well. A couple of people standing up. So, but yeah, it was a great feeling and great atmosphere.
You said 12 years in the making. This is just a special event. Anthony missed out, but what's the family support been like?
Yeah, you know, obviously Anthony's disappointed. You know, so was younger brother Colby. But for myself, you know, they were, you know, Anthony gave me a big hug and gave me a big kiss and said, you know, good work, and you know, my whole family are all behind me, and now I just need to get on the field and make sure, you know, I do my family proud. And the whole reason why I started is, you know, to play with my twin and to make, you know, each other happy, and you know, to make sure that us as a family move forward, and you know, as long as one of us makes it, we're happy. And you know, for me and our family, you know, we're very proud and very honoured that at least one of us made it.
But you've all contributed anyway because of the lead-up games, you know, the Reds and the Brumbies, and Colby pulling off that wonderful hit. I mean, so the family has had an impact on Lions, if you would like to say it that way.
Yeah, we've contributed to the team in somehow or some way. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how Colby did. You know, he's the youngest and he thinks that he's the man, but he's not really. You know, he's just a little kid that took over my room and thinks he kills it. But no, you know, he's doing very well, and he played outstanding for the Brumbies against the Lions, and obviously they had a great win. And you know, both Anthony had a great game as well.
What's going on with that little Mo though?
It's quite funny you say that. The Mo moustache, he actually does that because everyone calls him Anthony if he shaves it off. So he has to have some kind of distinction between Anthony and himself. So when we go out together, all three of us, they're like, "Oh, hey, Anthony." It's like, "No, it's Colby." And so that's the whole reason why he has that moustache. And I think he wants to star in a movie or something as well. So I'm not quite sure what kind of movie, but yeah.
So all three brothers, you had to have a distinctive look to get away with your individualism.
Yeah, well, obviously Anthony looks like this pretty boy with a side mohawk, and then Colby's got this dirty moustache, and then I'm a fat bloke with dreadlocks. So it's pretty much, and we all look the same. So we're very distinctive in what we look like, I guess.
Mate, what about this Test match in Melbourne? Can you sort of contain your excitement? Like 12 years ago, we were down one, and we won the next one, and then won the series. So there's history to reflect upon.
For us in Melbourne, I honestly didn't think it was going to be as big as what I've seen it already. Walking around the streets, it's quite amazing. Seeing red jerseys already. They're already popping up. Going to have dinner. Getting hassled to dinner, especially in Melbourne. I suppose the town of AFL, and for myself, it's an amazing feeling, and the build-up is growing, and there's a lot of pressure on us, and we're one game or two games from a series, but if we don't win this game, then our hopes and dreams are over. So we need to make sure that we're diligent in everything we do, and make sure that we are persistent, and the preparation that we've had has been outstanding.
One of the guys who came back in as if he was never missing was Kurt Lee-Beale. I mean, to many of us in the Indigenous community, we thought it was really important that Kurt Lee came back and in the right way. And do you think that's happened?
Yeah, he's definitely grown. He knows he's put his wrongs right, and the bigger reason is that everything he does is on a higher scale, and everyone gets to see what he does. He makes mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, except his mistakes are on TV and make the front page. So Kurt Lee's learned his lessons, we hope, and he's got good people around him, and it's good to have him around the group, and he brings that enthusiasm, he brings that funny guy around, and in saying that, he's a great athlete and a great rugby player. So him to come straight back into the group not only showed his ability to play, but also his capability, that he is very strong, and that for him having not played many games, to come back and play one of a starring role in a match-winning game that we could have won, it is an amazing feeling for a person like that, and he's been outstanding since he's been in camp.
Is rugby back? There was a bit of a slide there for a while, but in the national scene, is rugby back in Australia?
I think so. In Brisbane, it's faultless. I think we're building a fan base. We've got 30 odd thousand members. I think we're 38,000 now. We're beating the Broncos. We're building a brand up in Brisbane. I know that Melbourne's building their brand. I know Sydney's getting better. For us, rugby as a brand as a whole is getting a lot bigger. In saying that, when we go overseas, South Africa and places in Europe, that's all they live and breathe. So it's kind of good, staying under the radar in the rugby circles. But in saying that, we want to build our brand into one of the best brands, and for ourselves, I think it's getting bigger and better. And the quicker it gets, the more exciting it gets, and there's a lot more work in rugby union, a lot more thinking than people think, I guess.
All right, there he is, Saia Fainga'a. What a character, and I'm sure he'll do the job if he has to come on. But all three brothers have to look slightly different, because it was interesting how he's saying that Colby grew the little dirty mo, so he didn't get confused with Anthony.
Yeah, look, Colby's been rocking that little moustache for a couple of months now, but obviously a very talented rugby family. The three guys are absolutely exceptional rugby players and good blokes.
All right, and speaking of good blokes, Benny's one of the best, mate. Well done last week. One better this weekend, and well done on the Brumbies too, because that's, as I said, the undercurrent here. There's a series to continue after this Lions series, but it's all about the Lions this weekend. Game 2 under the roof at Etihad. Ben, thank you very much.
Cheers, Djuro.
There is Ben Bowen joining me in downtown Melbourne. We'll be back in a couple more days with a Test Eve preview. Until then, go the Wallabies.